So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to Mr. Yao Rangjun and Apexmind for the opportunity of addressing you this afternoon here in vibrant Hong Kong, where East meets West, where ancient Chinese wisdom meets Western thinking. I see Hong Kong as the bridge between China and the rest of the world, and I hope that this conference is going to help to develop and build more that bridge between us. So the title of the conference is Compete in the Next Era. How to do that is precisely the question that I want to ask of our own management consulting profession today. Because if we don't keep our own house in order, how can we advise clients on how to keep their houses in order? But before I start talking about the profession, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the world in which our businesses work today. We're living through a period of simultaneous converging disruptions, unlike anything most of us have experienced in our lifetimes. The military strategists came up with an acronym for what's going on. They called it VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What we face today goes beyond even that original concept. Some analysts now speak of a world that's not merely volatile but brittle, not merely uncertain but anxious, not merely complex but non-linear. So what are the impacts driving this? First, geopolitical instability. The rules-based international order that underpinned global trade for decades is fracturing. We have active conflicts on multiple continents, trade wars that shift by the week, and a power vacuum accelerating the rise of a multipolar world. According to a 2025 CEO survey, 63% of CEOs said their risk profile had increased dramatically over the past this year. So, sorry about this. So what does this mean for businesses? What does this mean for the management consulting profession? What we are looking at is a world where linear strategy and the traditional approach to strategic thinking is no longer appropriate. Things that happen in one part of the world can have an immediate impact around the rest of the world. And therefore, businesses have to consider how they devise, develop, and implement their strategy in a whole new way today. Second impact on businesses today is, of course, artificial intelligence. That's no longer an emerging technology. It's very much a present-day force, and it's reshaping business models, eliminating entire categories of work. 79% of CEOs believe AI will have the greatest impact of any technology on their industry. Yet around 95% of enterprise AI initiatives actually fail. We're witnessing a thing called the Gen AI divide, a widening gap between the few companies that have truly embedded AI and the vast majority stuck at the pilot stage. And the third impact is sustainability as a business imperative. It's not a passing trend anymore, it's here to stay. The EU's Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive is bringing more than 50,000 enterprises into mandatory ESG, that's environment, society, governance, control, regulation. Climate reporting requirements are expanding across the world, in Asia, the Americas, and Middle East. Consumers, investors, employees, particularly the new generation, what we call Gen Z, are demanding genuine commitment to environmental and social responsibility. And they can tell the difference between substance and greenwashing. And the fourth influence is that of the new generation, Gen Z. They are the future, and their expectations are fundamentally different from previous generations. Gen Z prioritizes purpose-driven work that aligns with personal ethics and societal impact. They value flexibility, autonomy, and they're deeply skeptical of organizations that talk about values but don't live them. And lastly, all of these four impacts actually come together in the interconnectedness of our world. So what happens in one place immediately has an impact over the whole world. And these impacts don't come one after another sequentially, they come together and they build on each other. So traditional linear strategic planning is no longer fit for purpose. The 5-year plan built on stable assumptions, predictable landscapes, that model's broken. What we need now is scenario-based, not rigid but adaptive. I call this intelligent agility. It's the capacity to change early, to model multiple scenarios rapidly, make decisions with imperfect information, and be able to pivot quickly. And this is where I come back now to the management consulting profession, because businesses are experiencing this VUCA world, as consultants, we need to be able to be extra vigilant in the advice we give. So, the VUCA world looks at what management consultants need to provide in terms of verified competence and proven integrity. That's the gold standard, and that's what ICMCI stands for. So, what are the forces reshaping our profession? We're feeling the same impacts as the whole of business, but they affect us slightly differently. For decades, our consulting industry has been built around relatively integrated global economy and stable trading regimes, but the world's fragmenting. While clients are wrestling with diverging regulations, supply chains that must be shortened or duplicated for resilience, data and AI rules. Consulting answer that optimizes for cost but ignores those geopolitical exposures is not just incomplete, it's dangerous. We need to be different in order to advise our clients properly for the future. The consultancy of the future will need geostrategic literacy, industrialized foresight using AI-powered scenario planning, and a genuinely global delivery model. Future consultants have got to be comfortable reading future scenarios, sanction regimes, as they are reading profit and loss statements. The winning consultancies in the future will combine analytical power with judgment, understanding history, culture, and local context. AI is not coming to the consulting industry, it's arrived already. AI is transforming consulting firms from the traditional pyramid structure to a very strict, what they call obelisk model. AI can actually perform all of the analytical work that consultants do. So what justifies our fees for the future? Well, it's got to be judgment. It's got to be ethical decision making. And also in sustainability. The market in sustainability is growing enormously, 26% year on year. But when sustainability advice faces regulatory regulation, the difference between qualified and unqualified advice is going to have a big impact. And lastly, the next generation, Gen Z. As I said, they prioritize purpose of living, purpose-driven work, transparency, flexibility. And that means that they're going to transform our consulting profession for the future. They're a challenge for us, but an opportunity. The opportunity is that the new generation crave exactly what we have in ICMCI to offer. Standards, continuous learning pathway, ethical guidelines. And so our hope is that Gen Z will champion our cause. So, yeah, we need to keep our own house in order. Let's look at where we stand now. I like to call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good part is that we are an enormous profession. And for the main part, we are very successful in providing good, honest, ethical, professional advice to organizations. And the growth economy is growing even more, especially in those areas of AI sustainability, as you can see here. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not all good news. This trillion-dollar industry operates as an entirely unregulated profession. No licensing, no mandatory qualification, no compulsory code of conduct. Compare that to the professions we work alongside. Lawyers must pass the bar. Doctors must be licensed. Accountants must be certified. Even hairdressers in some countries need to have certification, but we don't. So, you can see that the consequences sometimes are quite brutal in terms of what happens. Now, you'll notice I've redacted the names of the firms involved here. And that's not because I'm frightened of them bringing lawsuits against me, not at all. But this is not about individual firms. This is an endemic problem in our profession. The fact is that the big boys in what I call the industry, and I make the distinction between the industry and the profession. Big boys in the industry, unfortunately, over the past few years have tended to put lust for profit above the need for good service to clients, the need for ethical behavior. This is causing a trust deficit to take place amongst governments, amongst major consultancy buyers, and it's damaging for our profession. But even more so, the problem goes beyond just that. The other issue that we face is that a management consultant may advise on strategies worth millions of dollars, and they need no credentials at all to do that. Anyone can call themselves a management consultant. So the problem extends across the whole of our profession, from large firms to sole practitioners and small practices. Project rates not good enough. And too many engagements are falling short and being challenged as not providing value for money. This is caused partly by lack of technical knowledge, but much more due to the lack of skills in actually managing consultancy assignments, in managing client expectations, in the governance of consultancy projects. So all of these things together are causing us an issue in the profession which we need to do something about. And this we see as the job of ICMCI and its member institutes and the consultants who are members of those institutes. If more consultants actually followed the international standard ISO 20700, fulfilled the requirements of the ICMCI competence framework, gained the CMC designation, followed the ICMCI code of conduct, these problems would be solved. So with due respect, let me put the question direct to any corporate buyers in the room. When you engage a consultant, how do you know you can trust them? I mean, I know, of course, that here you practice very much more word-of-mouth recommendation and the relationships that are built up over time. What, if I pronounce this right, I hope, is guanxi. But is that enough on every occasion? Should you not also be asking any consultant, what are your qualifications? What are your certifications? How can I know that you've been independently assessed for your competence and your ethical behavior? And of course, to our consultants, I ask the same question. How do you prove that you have that competence and that capability? So I want to talk through now what is ICMCI's gold standard? What is our answer to these issues that face us today? ICMCI was formed in 1987 when 32 consultants from 10 countries got together in Paris and decided that the profession needed some global standards. Today we operate through over 40 members in over 60 countries. We hold special consultative status with the United Nations. We are the only consulting body with that recognition. And let me walk you through the principles of our standards, bit by bit: process, people, and principles. Process is all about ISO 20700, Guideline for Management Consulting Services. ISO 20700 was published in 2017. ICMCI was heavily involved in the development of this standard. And what it gives is a guideline for how consultants should carry out assignments, how to follow a robust process. It ensures complete understanding between consultant and client about how the project will be managed, what the processes used will be, what the deliverables will be, and what the expected outcomes of the project are going to be. And then, secondly, on the people front is our competence framework and the CMC designation, Certified Management Consultant. It's at the heart of our framework, the competence framework. It's the world's only portable management consulting credential. It's competence-based. That means candidates have to demonstrate their proficiency across the 6 domains of organizational management, have at least 3 years of successful practice, and they must undergo rigorous assessment and comply with our Code of Professional Conduct. Every national institute that awards the CMC is audited by our independent accreditation body to make sure that our standards are the same worldwide. That means the CMC earned in Shanghai is the same as that earned in London, New York, or Sao Paulo. And our CMC firm designation extends this standard to entire organizations. And of course, here I need to acknowledge Apexmind as a CMC firm of ICMCI, ambassadors for everything that ICMCI stands for. And then we have our principles, our code of conduct, ethical and professional responsibility. Established in 1989, this code was the first international code for our profession. It's enforceable, which means that violations can result in losing a CMC designation or even being dismissed from a member institute. It covers legal compliance, social responsibility, ecological awareness, and professional conduct. In an era of scandals shaken public trust, this code is essential. And ICMCI is not standing still. Last year, we published a comprehensive white paper on artificial intelligence in management consulting. And now we're developing a code of use of AI for the management consulting profession. It will be published and made available to all very soon. Practical guidelines for responsible, transparent use of AI tools. We're building a credentials hub. This is an online digital platform hosting the CMC pathway and a growing portfolio of micro-credentials in areas such as AI, sustainability, consulting ethics. It's modular, it's stackable, and it's digitally portable. It's a true pathway to lifelong learning. The lifelong learning that our Gen Z, our new generation, needs. And we continue to invest in our competence framework. It is currently being updated to the 2026 model to incorporate all the changes that have taken place since its last publication, very specifically AI and sustainability. And also, we have our National Consulting Index, the NCI, which you may or may not have heard of, but this is launched in 2018. It estimates the revenue contribution of management consulting to GDP across 189 countries. The 2025 edition, which has been published, provides updated financial estimates and exclusive qualitative insights from our member institutes. It's a powerful tool for governments, corporate buyers, and national associations, plus consultants. It exemplifies something very important for ICMCI. It says we're not merely a certification body, we are the knowledge hub of the global consulting profession. So, to the corporate leaders and buyers of consultancy, here in the room and across the world, you have the power to help transform our profession by asking one simple question in every procurement process for consulting. The question is, are you certified? Do you hold some sort of certification like CMC? Is your methodology aligned with the ISO standard 20700? Have you been independently assessed for your competence? Are you registered the same as my accountant or my lawyer or my doctor? The cost of bad advice is not merely wasted fee, it's a failed strategy, it's a regulatory penalty, and sometimes human harm and damage. To the consultants in the room and worldwide, I ask the same question. Why should you pursue CMC Award? It's not a badge to go on the wall, but a commitment to competence and ethical practice. Engage with ISO 20700. Explore the Credentials Hub. If you're established, mentor the next generation. If you're new, then know that ICMCI is building the profession that you deserve. And to everyone, I want you to talk about this. You know, the greatest barrier to proper professionalisation is not resistance, it's lack of awareness. We need to let everybody know what we stand for and what the benefits are. I've talked about a $1 trillion industry facing trust deficit. I've described how professional standards are essential. And I've shown you the gold standard of ICMCI and what it means to our profession and to the business world. The gold standard's not a ceiling, it's a foundation. It's a starting point. It's a foundation of competence, of ethics, of accountability. The conference title asks us to compete in the next era. I would add, let us build the next era. Let's build a consulting profession worthy of the trust placed in it. As a close, I want, of course, to express my respect and admiration for all my professional colleagues in China and Hong Kong. Your consulting market is amongst the fastest growing in the world. An ancient Chinese philosophy, actually, that you've understood for thousands of years, is something that our profession is only just beginning to understand. Sun Tzu, who taught that strategy must be adaptive, not rigid. Confucius, who taught that trust is built steadily and in partnership. Again, I hope I get the word right, Guanxi. It's the foundation of every enduring relationship. And Tao teaches us that systems are interconnected, that no part can be understood in isolation. So these ancient ideas are precisely the principles that underpin ICMCI today. I want to pay tribute again to Apexmind, who as a CMC firm, and I'm also delighted to advise soon-to-be corporate sustaining partner of ICMCI, they're leading the way in building this relationship between Chinese consulting, ancient wisdom, and the international profession. My warm invitation, I wanted to say challenge, but I'll make it an invitation to the Chinese and the Hong Kong consulting community is this: join us, help us lead for the future. Your philosophical language and your market dynamism make you not just participants in the future, but natural architects of our profession's future. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to the technical team who've been so wonderful in making this work. Thank you to Mr. Yao and Apexmind for inviting me to put this speech to you. But most of all, thank you all for your undivided attention